As the clock ticks towards exit day, Theresa May is battling to agree a Brexit deal with the European Union and steer it through Parliament in time. British politics is in uncharted territory, so predicting with a high degree of certainty how the next few months will pan out is risky. Think of it like a chaotic game of chess. One move in either direction could throw the entire board into turmoil and completely alter what follows. There are myriad outcomes, but here's a broad overview of how things could go between now and Brexit Day in March. More than 50,000 people have signed the petition, have you? Another crucial week for the Prime Minister. Senior UK and EU officials remain locked in negotiations to try and reach an agreement, with both sides continuing their talks until 2:45 a.m. on Monday. Downing Street said substantial issues over the Irish border backstop, the insurance policy aimed at ensuring there is no return to a hard border, are still to be overcome. The reason for the late-night session? The close of play on Wednesday is seen as the last possible moment to reach a deal in order for it to be signed off at a special EU summit later this month. It also needs to be given the green light by Mrs May's top team of ministers, which is not necessarily a sure thing. More below. Image. Further delays mean MPs might not get a Brexit vote until after Christmas. If the Wednesday deadline is missed, the Brexit timetable will be thrown up into the air and key staging posts on the way to an orderly withdrawal pushed back. The next possible date for the deal being signed off by EU leaders is in December. However, this has always been seen as when Parliament would get to debate and vote on the agreement. So an inconsequential outcome this week could mean that MPs won't get to vote until after Christmas. This then takes things closer to the deal deadline of the 21st of January contained in the EU Withdrawal Act. And if things go down to the wire, the government's room for maneuver decreases, which in turn increases the chances of no deal. What about the PM's ministers? We know that there is a lot of opposition to the PM's Brexit plan within her parliamentary party. And a number of now former ministers, Boris Johnson and Davis spring to mind, quit the government because of their unease with the direction of travel on Brexit, a change in policy, not a change in leader. That's been the common refrain among many Tories since Mrs May put forward her controversial Chequers proposals. Image. Mrs May's current Brexit plan emerged from crunch cabinet talks at Chequers. Upon being presented with the terms of an exit deal, some current ministers may decide they can't stomach what's on offer. International Development Secretary Penny Mordaunt hinted that the PM won't necessarily have a free hand in getting a deal through. She told Sky News, "The important thing is that there are two checks on this deal. There is Cabinet and there is Parliament. Cabinet's job is to put something to Parliament that is going to deliver on the referendum result. If resignations do occur, the degree of damage will depend a lot on who goes." The departures of Brexiteers like Ms Mordaunt, International Trade Secretary Liam Fox and Commons leader Andrea Leadsom might not necessarily spell the end for the PM, however, if they were to be joined by more senior figures, in terms of their role in cabinet, like Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt and Home Secretary Sajid Javid, the mutiny could prove fatal. Deal or no deal? For argument's sake, let's say the PM agrees an exit deal and it's signed off by the cabinet. The stage would then be set for an almighty Commons showdown. If, and it's a very big if, the exit deal is approved by Parliament, the PM will be able to breathe a sigh of relief. Having seen her Downing Street obituary penned multiple times, Mrs May find the path to Brexit Day being relatively smooth in comparison to what she had feared. The transition period, which will see Britain continue to follow the bloc's rules and regulations, will run from Brexit Day until the end of 2020. Image. Mrs May could still face pressure to quit, even if she gets a deal through Parliament. It's designed to give everyone, businesses, the public and the machinery of government, some breathing space before Britain reverts to its post-Brexit rules and regulations. The focus during this time will then turn to negotiating the terms of Britain's future relationship with the EU and free trade deals with nations around the world. But even if the PM manages to get an exit agreement through Parliament, her respite might prove to be short-lived. Mrs May could find some of Tory colleagues want to turn the page and start afresh with a new leader who can take the party forward as post-Brexit Britain strikes out into the world. Don't be entirely surprised if the PM comes under pressure to outline a timetable for her departure once the transition period has begun. Pandora's box ripped open. If the deal is rejected, all bets are off. All manner of things could happen. It's difficult to see Mrs May being able to survive such a blow to her authority on an issue that has consumed her government. A parliamentary rejection of the deal significantly increases the chances of Britain leaving with no agreement in place. Image. Further problems may see the likes of Angela Merkel and Emmanuel Macron lose patience on Brexit. The PM's replacement could try to extend Article 50, giving them more time to try and renegotiate with Brussels and have another go at getting something through Parliament. But the EU is under no obligation to do this. Indeed, by that stage it will be almost 3 years since the referendum. The likes of Emmanuel Macron and Angela Merkel may have run out of patience and want to be shot of what they view as a problem of Britain's own making. Under this scenario, Mrs May's warning that it's either her deal or no deal may turn out to be prophetic. No deal, no problem. If there's no deal, there's no transition period either. This means Britain would straight away, once the clock strikes 11 p.m. on the 29th of March, move from its current trading arrangements with the EU to World Trade Organization rules for external states. Some view such a scenario as a disaster, arguing it would lead to disruption to the supply of things like food and medicine, disruption to trade, problems at our ports and disruption for businesses. 228 video. Ministers gave Theresa May a plan for no-deal Brexit, but supporters of no deal say this is scaremongering and it would be better to have clean break from the EU, rather than remain tied to Brussels through a transition. Intriguingly, a number of cabinet ministers recently presented the PM with a detailed no-deal plan designed to calm fears such a scenario would be bad for Britain. Will we have another election or a second referendum? Depending on events in the coming weeks and months, both of these options could become attractive means of breaking through any problems. For example, having seen her deal rejected by Parliament, the PM could attempt one final roll of the dice, put her plan to the country in a referendum. No-deal disruption could strengthen the case for a second referendum as a means of reversing Brexit. Mrs May is against one, but she might no longer be in office. Plus opinion could shift within and without Parliament enough for MPs to vote in favour of one. Image. Opponents of no deal say it will cause problems at ports like Dover. Problems getting a deal through could precipitate a general election, although it should be noted that a change in Downing Street occupancy does not mean there automatically has to be one. Whoever replaces Mrs May could decide that is the best way forward and a way out of the impasse, but it is a risky move that could backfire on them and cause more chaos. Labour would prefer a general election in the first instance, but whoever is Conservative leader may not want to risk giving Jeremy Corbyn another shot at Downing Street. The opposition has not ruled out backing a second referendum in the event there is not an election, and the former might prove more palatable to Tories fearful of an election defeat. Brexit means, as is clear from the above, the road ahead is lined with potholes and pitfalls. The final destination is uncertain, but one thing's for sure, it won't be boring.